Hello everyone. This is a very important video because if you are standing between the life you know and where you want to go or what you want to build, this is a video for you. So I made a big decision. I make a big decision to move to San Diego, and it was without a guarantee, without a plan, with no certainty that everything would work. So I want to share for you and also for myself, I guess. I will definitely look back to this video thinking about all the insights that I've had. And so, by the way, a lot of the things that I will share today will be based on this, the resilience element formula. So you can take a screenshot of this. This is all of the components that I'm going to talk about, and way more than that with all the insights. So yeah, I made a big decision, and it's scary because the last time I've done something similar to that was when I moved from Montreal to Vancouver. And I remember at the time it was a big thing, right? Like it was almost moving abroad because, all of a sudden you don't speak French anymore, you speak English, and it's on the other side of the country. And the biggest difference is that I had a job. I had a job at this point, but now you're moving to a different country. There's no job, there's no people you meet, at least on the social front, and there's no real friends that I know of in San Diego. I mean, I know people in LA, I know people in the world. I can definitely do some Zoom calls, but in terms of proximity, nothing. And I can tell you that you feel so alive when you make these moves, because I used to tell my friend just before I left, I feel like I'm actually just jumping the plane without a parachute, and I'm just praying that it's going to be built while I'm diving down. So this is what happens. So first part of the resilience element formula is clarity, right? So there's one thing that if you want to create something new in your life, you got to have a vision, of course, right? But it's not necessarily a vision with all of the details. I think what's really important is to have a North Star. And yes, there are some important details around it, but there's nothing that we can plan accordingly with all the details in perfect place, if that makes sense. I think there's an expression that said, God, if you tell God what your plans are, he's pretty much gonna laugh at you because he knows way more than you. So I knew that I wanted to be close to, and here, let me just do a side note first. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened in my life for the last year, and so there was a change of relationship. And actually, I was married. Many people didn't know that. And there's various reasons for that. But then I thought this relationship would go for the rest of my life, and unfortunately, it didn't. And so come April, there's a divorce. And we are in very good terms because, I'm so glad that I've worked on me many years, and that's the same thing with my former partner. She was amazing. So we're in very good terms. We could call that we did a conscious uncoupling. But, of course, there's a lot of things you learn when you're with someone and you have a mirror in your face, because all of the triggers that you have, they're all your growth moments. And so I went through a lot of that in 2025. And so now 2026, the map is open. Everything's possible. And I know some people can say, oh, it's easy for you because, you can make these decisions. It's not necessarily easy. I think that there's definitely ways that I could have chosen an easier path, but here's why I made that choice. The choice that I made was from my heart, out of my heart. And I have a lot of conversations with my godfather these days because he's a very important man in my life. At 16 years old, he gave me a card, a birthday card, and it said, Francis, don't choose a job for the paycheck. Do what makes your heart come alive. Otherwise, you'll be poor all your life. And I didn't choose that at first. It took me at least 20 years, and I found the card again, and I realized, oh, wow, like I didn't even do that. And there's a reason why you have to follow your heart, because if you're thinking of the 5 regrets of the dying, and actually I want to tell you what they are again, because I got connected to this fact. And I guess now it's not really showing it. Let me just see. But anyway, the point is, I'm going to be in my heart. It doesn't matter. The point is that the 5 regrets, some of them, the first is, I wish I had the courage to do the things that I guess makes me alive, come alive, my heart come alive, not the life of what other people want from me. Another one is I wish that I had not worked that hard. I wish that I had let myself to be happier. So just those three, it got me thinking that imagine, like, you've got these people, they're telling you the insight, the most important insights ever, because they're just about to die, and they're saying, you know what, if I could just go back, these are my regrets. So I wish I had the courage to let myself live the life true to my own essence. I wish I had let myself be happier. I wish I had spent more time with my friends. And there's two more, but it doesn't matter, just those three. I ask myself, am I doing this? Am I really doing this? And I've had, unfortunately, some friends passing away for the last 2 years, and important people in my life. And I went to a funeral or celebration of life in April, and I saw the impact of that person. That person, Mac, my dear friend Mac, was 62. There's another one, Stefan, 48. It happened out of nowhere. So I'm thinking, okay, so I have a full canvas. Everything's possible. I don't necessarily have everything to create, but I do have a vision. And my vision is I want to be in a great place. I want to be in a place where it's beautiful. I love the ocean. Like, if I could choose, yes, I will choose the ocean. If I could choose, I'm going to choose where there's a mountain not too far. And I love Vancouver. I still love Vancouver. Actually, you realize the places you love by daring to go places, by testing it out, right? So I made that decision. And along the way, there's also another beautiful insight, is that I chose to stop over in Houston to meet one of my friend and client and his team. And it made me realize that, when you go from one place to another, there's a lot of different stops. And that's what life is. It's never about just one destination. It's not, finally, I'm going to be happy when. It's the journey. And so you realize that, the journey is also with the people. Because through these steps, when I stopped in Houston, it made me feel alive. It made me feel that I was contributing, that I was exercising something that's meaningful for a team, for my client, and that's really living. And so I realized, life is just like that. You're on the train, you have different stops, and then, sometimes you get off the train and then you up on a new one. And that was actually the same thing with my relationship. I fully believed at the time that she was the one, and she was for that time. And I knew it's a remembrance of souls, and it was no denial. And so sometimes you realize, okay, so I was right to think that it was for life, or that it was the right person. It was the right person for that moment. So I made that decision, and no guarantee, no friends, nothing. But let me tell you, you're so alive, because now you're starting to be really present. And I have great stories for that, because imagine that you walk in a new place. Everything is new. You're walking on the street. You're like, oh, this is where the tailor is. Oh, this is where the coffee shop is. Oh, this is the grocery. Oh, so you don't think about the past, you don't think about the future, you're so present. And because you're so present, there's so many synchronicities and miracles. And so another point, and that's why I was talking about the 5 regrets of the dying, is because aliveness is so important. I got connected to that. Like, I had a beautiful meditation, and it got me connected to God. And so this is a thing, like, I call it God, I call it the creator, you can call it the universe. And I was afraid for years to talk about it. And thanks to all the shit and the challenges I had in my life, it got me humbled to realize, and this is another insight, to realize that I don't control any of my life. Who gives me the breath? And I had a message, powerful message about that before on YouTube or Facebook. And it was that, I have your breath. You don't get to choose when you have it or when you don't. I get to choose when you have your breath. So don't waste it. And I had this powerful message. So thinking about the fact that I don't control anything, what's my job? My job is to have this vision. And that's the message I got in that beautiful meditation. God told me, he's like, tell me what you want. What is it that you want? Like, don't worry about the how. That's my job. That's my job. It's not your job. Your job is just to tell me, where do you want to go? Like, what's your North Star? Then we will organize things, and then the how is going to show up. That's my job. Your job is to be alive. Your job is to plant the seeds and help people along the way. That's your job. Express your light. Express your gifts. Express your talent. That's why I put you on earth. And so don't worry about the how. Just do it. And I did that. And even recently, I thought, is this really the place exactly where I want to go? So with a lot of conviction and aliveness, that's what creates everything. It's not what we're going to get. It's not the money. It's not the car. It's not any of that. It's not the place you live. It's really about expressing your aliveness. And that aliveness comes from your heart when you're excited to do something that's meaningful. And usually there's a lot of fear involved, because that moment of fear and excitement is very similar. And that's what makes you come alive. And so I've realized, wow, this is the power of creation, is to dare to go to the next level. And when there's a challenge, you dare to ask for having the container to go through this challenge, because it's not punishment. It's preparation. And right now, I have so much gratitude for all the challenges that I had in my life, because I know that deep down, God was just preparing me the whole time with love. And he said, I know what you want. I know it's not easy, but trust me, you don't want to create what you want to create, this big goal, without this big foundation. Because your house is not solid yet. You have to have this solid foundation. You have to be able to go through a lot of challenges so that now you can be the leader for other people that don't have these tools. And that's why I created all of this. So here's an example of actually how miracle happened when you're present. Because now I decided to, I'm going to get into this community. I'm just going to walk. I'm going to introduce myself. And you'd be surprised how people are so amazing. When you're from Canada? Oh, tell me more. And then, welcome. And actually, if you want to go to a great restaurant, you can go here, you can go there. And that's where you have to listen. That's an insight. So in that, I decided to go for a networking event, because I'm putting myself out there. So I've done a few, and I just arrived like July 4th. It's a day that I will remember. 250th anniversary of America. That's beautiful. So only 2 weeks in, then I decided to go to this networking event. And, I meet some people. They're in the same past industries that I used to be in. And then I met this guy. And we're starting to talk. Oh, I've done plant medicine too. I've traveled the world. This is amazing. Oh my God, this is great. And so we're talking about different things. He said, I just moved to San Diego as well. I'm like, oh, really? And then he said, here's the thing. Start of a miracle. He said, well, if you're looking for a place, furnished place, you can actually just and he shows me furnished apartment, whatever. And I said, all right, let me just take a picture. I took a picture. Deep down, I didn't really need that, because I'm in an Airbnb until August 10th, and then, I'm going to a different place. And I was asking the owner, hey, can I extend for another month, or maybe like 2 or 3? Like the owner's like, well, can you do 2 or 3? There's another person that would like to have it. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, of course they're going to choose me, because I'm here. And, the neighbors that are like, they love me. I love them. So it's going to be easy. So I thought, yeah, I'm taking a picture of whatever Zeb is his name is giving me, and I don't know why, but I'm gonna take it. So I'm thinking there's 90% certainty that I'm gonna stay where I'm at, because it's practical. It's a beautiful place. It's North Park. There's a lot of restaurants. It's great. It's amazing. So, but then the day after in the morning, and I want to read you what I read, and that's before everything started to crumble. So it said, and that's what I read, by Matthew 6:25. By the way, the Bible is the greatest personal development book, and I'm not talking about religion with dogma. I'm talking about the stories that are inside. You can learn so much. So it said, this is what I tell you, not to worry about your everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than your clothing? And it kind of said, who are you to think that I'm not going to provide anything you need when birds can find food and trees can survive for years and years? Who are you to think that I'm not going to be able to provide that? You must have faith. And so I read that, and I had to meet someone in the morning, and then boom, like all of a sudden I'm reading my emails just before I left, and it said, I'm so sorry, Francis. Yeah, we're not, somebody just booked it for 3 months from another platform, so here you go. So I'm like, okay, so now I have to find a new place. I have 2 weeks to find that. Ooh, that's interesting. Not too long after, oh, immigration. Got an email from U.S. immigration saying something like, you've got a message. I read the message. It said that one of my card, or whatever it is, was revoked or terminated. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Then another thing, accounting. Hey, Francis, we need to do this. I'm like, oh, great. Now, another thing, trademark. Oh, you got to renew this. Like all this avalanche of things all at once. Pa, 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 pa. And I have to go see my new friend and most probably business partner. Anyway, so I'm taking a breath. And this is actually a very important part. You pause. And then I remember, I'm like, isn't that interesting? Like, I'm reading this thing and said, don't you worry about where you live and your shelter and all that. And now I'm without it. And then I'm also remembering, it's preparation. There's a challenge. All I'm going to ask is not to have the challenge. I'm going to ask that I have the capacity and the power to go through this. And remembering to be present, because I'm going to meet someone and I don't want to have that in my mind, because if I have that in my mind, there's no magic that's going to happen. There's no connection that's going to happen. So I decided, take a breath, and I'm just going to meet this person. And it was an amazing meeting. And so now during the day, I'm driving, and I was talking to my parents, and as I'm driving, I'm thinking, wow, this is a beautiful place here. I should probably just kind of stop here. And I stopped for a coffee, and then I remember, Zeb gave me this website. I should probably take a look at it. And so now I'm taking a look at a website. I see 2 great places, send an email to each of the owner. One replies pretty quickly, and that was my favorite. And he's like, I'm not in town, but if you want to see the place, you can definitely come tomorrow or around 5. I'm in. Like, I'm in North Park, and that's in South Park, whatever he is. So that's 5, 6, 7 minutes away from where I'm at. He's like, great. Well, since you're so close, I'm just going to text you, and, we can meet. And then I went to see him the day after. Keep in mind, and I'll summarize everything, and there's so many gems in that. So I go see him. He's like, and there's a beautiful courtyard with a fountain, a little barbecue, a bench. I can do my meditation. It's almost 500 square foot just to be outside. I entered this casitas. It's beautiful. It's all renovated. He's like, nobody has lived here actually. So this is my place. The guy is an acupuncturist, and he feels me. He feels my vibe. Aliveness, right? I said the biggest currency you have. And we talk. He shows me his backyard. This is beautiful. He's like, well, there's another person that wants it. So can you do at least until September? All of these things. And then he's talking about the deposits, talking about different things. The point is that I got it. So many exceptions. I don't know if you know, but if you're in the US, sometimes they're going to say, well, minimum 12 months. Show me your credential. I mean, all I gave him was my website. And he resonated with my website. He's like, this calls to me. I want you to have it. Yeah, don't worry about the deposit. We'll like 1/3 of the amount that he was asking. All of these miracles that are happening. And then here, and how? What's the recipe? The recipe, imagine this. Like, that's a true miracle. Because if I didn't choose to go to this event, if I didn't have me as my true essence and being excited to speak to people, meeting this guy, he gives me the website. I follow my heart again because I'm driving and I'm seeing something really cool. And because of that, and I was just before another meeting, I stop, I take my coffee, I take a look at the website, sends two messages, and then go to another meeting, and in that time I get one reply, and that's the one that I'm gonna end up being. And this is a true miracle. I have no doubt that this is God's creation. That's not me. And what was my responsibility in it? It was to just trust beyond logic. It's kind of a resilience beyond logic. You just trust, because what's the other option? And I know the other option. The other option is fear. And let me tell you, I've lived in fear for 10 years plus in different departments, and that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And if you focus on it, you create more of it. So that's why you have to make a decision. And that's the key of your next chapter, is to become the person that your next chapter requires. Become the person your next chapter requires. You cannot create a new chapter with the person that you've been, because that created what you have right now. You cannot create something new. And so I think I mentioned that in a video before, and I tell that to my clients all the time. If I'm asking you, look at yourself in the mirror. And if you want to see yourself in the mirror smiling, what do you need to do? Right? You're seeing yourself in the mirror and you want to see yourself smiling. What are you going to do? You need to smile, right? Like, and then, we see the reflection. And yet, in our own life, we are looking in the mirror and we're upset because we're not seeing what we want. We're not seeing the smile. And so we're living from the outside in instead of living from the inside out. So we gotta create our smile to see the smile. We gotta become the person that the next chapter requires in order to have it. If we want more love in life, we gotta love ourselves first, and then be loving so that other people can love us. If we want to be with someone that's positive, we got to be positive. If we want to have more success in life, we're going to act like we are successful and not be scared. We got to make these bold moves, and that's why it's courage before certainty. There's no certainty. The only certainty you can have is within you, and knowing that you're guided, that all your responsibility is just to plant the seed and do good in life, and God will support you. The Creator is going to support you. The biggest frequency, and there's a beautiful quote, I think it's here. Actually, I'm going to read it to you, and because that's so important. Consciousness is the only real currency that exists. It's the only vessel for every miracle. So the reason why I got the place for my next place is because of my consciousness. It's because of my frequency. If I'm going in and I'm not nice, I'm concerned, I'm fearful, that's a way of being, by the way. This is what creates the reflection in your life. I say who you're being is what you're seeing in your life. So if I'm being like that, no miracle is going to happen. And I had a powerful meditation this morning thinking about, let's say someone has way more money than me, and I'm looking at it and I feel so sad because I don't have it. Then what it says is basically I'm thinking again that something external would be bigger than me. But we are all coming from the same source. So my only responsibility, you look at billionaires, you look at millionaires, whatever that is, they have a frequency. It's not about what they have. Some, maybe they're lucky, but this is about a frequency. So if I have this frequency, choosing to have this frequency, being alive, because I don't want to regret at the end of my life that I haven't spent time to the things that matter. If I am this aliveness, that's all I can have. And that's all I can choose, and that's what's going to create everything. The millions, name it. And if I don't have it, it doesn't matter because I'm alive, and I'm going to have all other blessings that are going to be amazing. And I think that truly what we're looking for in life is to be alive. It got me thinking, I'm sure like as someone that has a cancer stage 4 would do anything to be healthy, to be alive. And when we are shopping for things that are external, I think that's just because we want to be alive. I think it's just we want to prove ourselves that, I'm worth it. Look at me. but then we're chasing and there's no end. But when it comes from the inside and you're alive everywhere, not just in your finance, but in your love, with your friends, because you take care of your friends, with your family, with everything. That's the purpose. The purpose to be alive is to be alive. And when my friend died at 47, I asked myself, am I alive while I'm alive? And if I'm not, then there you go. I'm going to make a choice to become alive. So I hope that it serves you. So far, what we've talked about is clarity, having a vision, something that is a fantasy, because why not going for it? If God was listening to your request and he's like, I can give you anything. My job is just to create the how, but what do you want? Would you go small or would you go big? Let's go big, baby. I don't know if it's a good term to say baby, whatever. Dude, brother, my sister, let's go big. Let's go big. Let's have fun. And it doesn't matter if you don't achieve it, because that's the journey, like I said. Well, and if you shoot high, chances are you're going to go way further than if you choose to go that high. And I think we just want to expand. We want to feel alive. We want to see how far we're going to go. We want to use our potential. And then comes the clarity, not the clarity, but conviction, which is your burning desire. Desire comes from your heart. And the certainty comes from believing that you're taking care no matter what. That if there's a challenge, it's actually not punishment, but it's more of preparation. And it's to live in the world with your frequency, with your aliveness, that it's already done. No matter what happens on the outside, even if there's nothing that has grown yet. Because the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. It's just going to grow. Now, with the formula comes commitment. So, of course, if you just have wishful thinking and you're being in your head, just thinking about it, not taking action, that's not going to work. So we got to do daily actions. And then comes the courage, the last part, where yes, it's going to be difficult, but when you have that faith beyond logic, resilience beyond logic, that you're taken care of, that you don't need to worry about your shelter and the food and all that. All you have to do is be grateful for what you already have. And I know that I've cursed so many times, and I know that I created more of it. But then when you come to a point where God humbles you and said, you think you can do it yourself? Sure, I love you. Try, my beautiful son, my beautiful daughter. And then you have a point in your life, and if that's you right now, and you're at the bottom, and there's something that's difficult, well, give it to him. And that's what I did. I just surrendered. I'm like, I can't take it anymore. It's too hard. Like, I mean, I tried everything. And it's like you trying to hold the steering wheel, trying to go and like, I got this, I got that. And then bam, 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 bam. You hit the wall. And then you're so tired. You're like, I'm going to give it to somebody else. I trust God. And then God prepares you. He loves you so much. Like, yeah, I created these challenges so that you can start to believe in me. So that you can start to see that the breath you have is mine to give it to you. So enjoy, my friend. Enjoy your life. Be the reflection of who I am. Who am I? I'm love. I'm kindness. I am creation. I'm going beyond my potential, because there's always a next level. I am here to be alive. I am here to be loving. So be that. That's all there is to do. I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. 28 minutes. Wow. That's what happens when you're alive. So if that's you, if you feel, and by the way, if you feel someone needs to hear this, please subscribe and share. And also, if you're at this junction of, you know that the life you have is not necessarily what you want, and you're looking at a different chapter, and you need to become someone new, I will be more than happy to help you. I've done it so many times. And this is what happens when you actually just decide to take that leap of faith with no guarantee. You become so alive, and the house shows up. Everything is turning into its place. And by being present, there's so many synchronicities. So have clarity for what you want. Have a burning desire. Have that certainty, that resilience beyond logic that you're being taken care of. Take action with commitment and make a decision. That's the first start. As soon as you have your vision and you have your burning desire, make that decision. A client of mine just told me, youngest client of mine, amazing person, said, yeah, Francis, you know, since we've done that work, I made my decision, and that's what he told me this week. And then everything from my commitment, everything started to align because he made that decision. So instead of being stand still and not knowing, just go one way and you'll find out. That doesn't mean it's where you're going to end, but it will definitely give you a result and a retro action, so that now you're like, that's not exactly what I want. And then shoot still for what you want. And the last part, like I said, is commitment and having the courage. And I'm here to support you if there's anything. So thank you for watching. I'm going to do more of that because this is what makes my heart come alive. I love you, and talk to you soon.